Plastic surgery is not as exotic as previously thought. A huge number of people make small adjustments to their appearance with this procedure, but some people get so caught up in plastic surgery that they literally turn into other people. This is Infinity, and in this episode I'll show you these and other people who took plastic surgery too far. Rodrigo Braga. Rodrigo Braga is laid on a couch and a tube is inserted into his mouth to make it easier for him to breathe. Next, the surgeon takes a needle and thread and begins sewing pieces of dog skin onto the guy's face in the eye area. The same goes for the area around his ears. He attaches the dog hair to the top of the head and then secures the dog's head to the guy's face. Done! In front of you, the first dog man in history. This, of course, can be called plastic, but only hardly. In fact, Rodrigo hasn't been like this forever. He's a Brazilian performance artist whose job is to surprise people, and he's done that beautifully with the dog's head. However, what's scary is that the head was real. But everything's not so terrible. The animal at the time of the operation was put down for health reasons, and its head was given to perform the crazy performance. In any case, it was unusual and spectacular. I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming years someone decided to become a dog man for good and all. You probably already know that the movie Barbie, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, will be premiering this year. Last year, the internet was flooded with memes about the movie. It seems that the casting director rushed to give Ryan the role of Ken because it would be much better suited to Hurricane Garrett.
Hurricane Garrett is here.
This guy from Los Angeles became a recent internet sensation when millions of people found out about him. Through plastic surgery, he literally turned himself into the real Ken. Garrett spent about $140,000 to change his body. He did it largely because he wanted to become famous. He obviously took plastic surgery too far because he transformed himself incredibly. But the main thing is that he likes everything, and he's finally completely satisfied with his life. In addition, he earns good money from his new look and, by his own admission, has already become a millionaire. Do you think this is a good way to get rich? If I were Garrett, I wouldn't stop and keep getting plastic surgery to finally turn into Ken, because he has a worthy competitor named Justin Jedlicka, another Ken. In my opinion, he looks even more like a Barbie boyfriend than Hurricane Garrett. Justin has been unhappy with his appearance since he was a kid and has dreamed of fixing a lot of things about himself since he was a teenager. Once he became an adult, he immediately took action. He fixed his nose alone 5 times to make it look as doll-like as possible. After that, Justin changed the shape of his eyes, corrected the bones of the skull, pumped up the cheekbones, chin, and lips, and removed a vein on his forehead. The last operation, by the way, might have cost him his eyesight, but the things you have to do to be a real Ken. As for the body, the guy did not achieve such muscle definition by going to the gym for many hours on a strict diet. There were operations here, too. His muscles are all about silicone implants. A Ken like Justin Jedlicka needs a real Barbie. And there is one. Look, they really are together. Nikki Exotica is another doll fan who's decided to completely change her body. This time, by the way, right completely, because Nikki used to be a guy, and her name was Jason Torres. Nikki had adored dolls, and especially Barbie, since she was 2 years old, so the future was predetermined. Nikki, or rather Jason at the time, dreamed of not just loving a Barbie doll, but becoming one, and over time began to put her plan into action, from hormone therapy to dozens of plastic surgeries. That's the hard and long way Nikki went, along with spending $1 million. That's how much a full-fledged transformation cost. Okay, let's take a break from these Barbies and Kens because in the world you can find other incredible cases of plastic surgery. Look at this girl, for example. It may seem like a pretty ordinary lady who just put on makeup for a photo, but that's not entirely true. In fact, this is a real Japanese woman. This is Vanilla Chemu, and she's now become an ideal beauty for many Japanese girls. In the land of the rising sun, huge eyes, snow-white skin, thin waist, and large breasts are valued. All this Vanilla decided to take for herself. The Japanese woman spent more than $100,000 to transform herself into a European, and she succeeded. 30 complicated surgeries and hours spent under anesthesia were worth it. Now she's hardly recognizable as Japanese unless she speaks her own language. Do you like Marvel Comics? Who's your favorite character? Maybe Spider-Man or Iron Man? What about the Red Skull? If there are fans of this character among you, you'll definitely like Henry Damon. The resident of Venezuela has become a real supervillain in our world. He may not have superpowers, but his resemblance to Johann Schmidt is amazing. To become part of Marvel, Henry decided to do some extreme body modifications. He got tattoos on his eyeballs, put implants in his forehead and eyebrows, had his face tattooed, and creepiest of all, had part of his nose removed. Without makeup, he looks almost like Voldemort. Then it's down to some simple actions and stuff. Black contact lenses, makeup, and costume. And here's the Red Skull ready to fight Wolverine, Captain America, and Nick Fury. If, of course, he finds them in Venezuela. Some people like Marvel Comics, some like DC. Herbert Chavez from the Philippines is clearly a Gotham fan, or more precisely a Metropolis fan, because he turned into its main resident, Superman. Herbert was a fan of Clark Kent from an early age. At first, he simply dressed up in a Superman costume and posed for the camera, but then he decided that wasn't enough. The Filipino went under the knife, had his chin enlarged, reshaped his nose, had some silicone injections in his lips, and even agreed to put implants in his thighs to make them look more muscular. Also, surgeons did not ignore the eyes, cheeks, and jaw of Herbert Chavez and made them similar to those of the real Superman. As a result, the Filipino can now boast the best Superman cosplay in the world, and he doesn't even need any makeup to do it. By the way, unlike the previous plastic surgery lovers, Herbert didn't spend that much on the transformation, a little over $6,500. Although by these standards of the Philippines, that's a hefty amount of money. Some dream of being Superman, some dream of being the Red Skull, Barbie, or Ken. The next hero of the episode, a young guy named Vinny O, has gone even further and intends to become a sexless alien. Looking at him, I can tell you that this is what aliens can look like. Vinny believes that beauty is about looking like a man and a woman at the same time, but being neither. This task is very difficult, and without a bunch of plastic surgeries, it's clearly not achievable. That's why Vinny O has gone under the knife more than 100 times and spent tens of thousands of bucks to become what he wants. Vinny has had many implants implanted in him, wears lenses that turn his eyes into two bottomless black circles. His fingernails are grown so much they look more like claws, and his hair is always dyed in unnatural colors. This already creates an alien effect, but only to you and me. Vinny himself says he's not done with the transformations yet. He plans to spend even more money and undergo the surgery to remove his secondary sexual characteristics. As he says, this is how he will become a sexless alien, and his appearance will reflect how he feels on the inside. I'm sure many of you have a favorite musical performer. By the way, write in the comments, who is it? Usually, fans of musicians listen to their songs a lot, buy branded products, and hang their posters on the walls of their house. Some go even further, like Brian Ray. This guy is such a fan of Britney Spears that he literally became her. Brian has always been a fan of Britney, and several times he even accidentally ran into her on the streets of Los Angeles. This became the starting point, and the superfan began to transform. To turn into a pop star lookalike, he's had about 100 cosmetic procedures and plastic surgeries, from nose reshaping, eyebrows reshaping, and Botox with fillers to the installation of veneers. Although doctors warn the guy that after such a gigantic number of modifications his nose might fall off, Brian doesn't stop and isn't afraid of anything. His love for Britney is stronger. The next model in this episode went to great lengths to become another Barbie. Ophelia Vanity underwent multiple plastic surgeries to become like a living anime-style doll with unreal facial features, blonde curls, and huge blue eyes. When Ophelia received her first Barbie doll at the age of 5, she instantly fell in love with the toy. But over time, her love faded, and for years there was no hint of a doll craze. However, by the time she was 18, she remembered her childhood love and decided to become a Barbie. Since then, Ophelia has spent more than $35,000 to achieve the desired appearance, and she's clearly not going to stop. The girl is about to undergo several more procedures, but one of them she seems to be unable to undergo. Surgeons refused to remove her ribs so that Ophelia could get a thin doll waist. But Pixie Fox, a 32-year-old Swedish girl, managed to do it. She has one of the thinnest waists in the world, all because she had 6 ribs removed. Pixie often has to wear a corset, but not only for decoration, it supports her internal organs. In addition to her ribs, Pixie has also worked on other parts of her body. She got a lip lift, a facelift, a breast augmentation, and a nose job. She's also changed her eye color to blue, She even went to India specifically for this procedure because such an operation is prohibited in Europe and America. It's not quite clear who she wants to look like – Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, a Disney princess, or someone else. But one thing's certain, Pixie Fox's body transformation was epic. Like many of today's protagonists, mother of 6 Lacey Wilde was also inspired by Barbie dolls, only this time her experiments with looks went much further. She was once told she had the chest of a boy. In her youth, the girl was severely hurt by this, so she decided that she would enlarge it. The woman's efforts went very far. Lacey's undergone more than 10 breast surgeries. She had serious complications, including torn pectoral muscles and ruptured veins due to her weight. But Lacey didn't want to lose her new look and tried to keep it at all costs. She ended up having pigskin implants around the edges and underneath to secure and hold her heavy implants in place. These breasts cause a lot of discomfort for Lacey, but the woman is not ready to give up on her goal in pursuit of her ideal. That's all, guys. Who from this episode impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.